to be.
Hello and welcome to another edition of PolyUnion Kingdom. The goddesses, introduce yourselves.
I'm Goddess Tiani. Goddess Tamika.
We've had videos posted before and we didn't do a proper introduction. Therefore, there you have it. Moving forward, we're actually sitting here discussing the different poly dynamics and how they benefit and serve us as beings or not serve us. And so the topic we was discussing was the multiple men with one woman, and the goddesses were giving their insight on it. And so, goddess.
Well, let me start off because I'm the one with the strongest opinion about the matter. Not to say, but yes. So, in my observance of reality, because I'm not going to say my personal opinion, and my observance of reality in us being in the paradigm of single family homes or a home with one male and one female, I feel we have been shorted. We have shorted ourselves as far as making a collective indigenous family. Well, now we're coming into a shift, a conscious shift, where polygyny is opening up and it's becoming something that a lot of us are looking at as one of the mechanisms to reverse a lot of the generational curses that we have been participating in. I see, as far as one woman with multiple males, I see that as a challenge, as going against the grain. And that's not a surprise. It's by design that indigenous women have been programmed and have been brought up to go against the nature of their males. They have been the least, they have been closer to their males than anything or aspect on this earth, and we seem to know the least about our males. So that leads me to believe that we're soaking up information elsewhere about them than the information that is being shown to us in our reality.
Toxic information.
And what I mean is, a lot of us women have been shown the true nature of our male. When we called it cheating, when we labeled it cheating, that is nature that has shown you its nature. Now, whether you want to be in denial about it, that's your choice, or you want to embrace it, that's your choice as well. But to embrace it is to embrace universal truth, is to embrace knowledge of nature, is to embrace divine truth. Anything else that you embrace outside of nature is not divine truth. So a lot of us have gotten our relationship modules downloaded from us, from other beings who have had agendas and how they want the melanated family to be, because the melanated family is the supreme universal aspect of the universe. So if I have an agenda, I want to control the power that is within the system. I have to control the top power. So by us even listening to other beings on how we should formulate our indigenous families outside of nature's law, we are going against ourselves. Now, this relationship with multiple females with multiple names, it's already going on. It's just not as reined in as a lot of people are trying to make the relationship, but the proof is in the pudding. Multiple males producing with one female, that's where we have one female in the house with multiple children and maybe no father. Maybe she might have a father, but all of these children's father cannot be present or are not present. So that, to allow that, I think that you are allowing the female to not have control over herself, to not know how to control herself, to not put in practice that, to wait for that divine lover instead of having multiple lovers come and put their seed within her and then leave her in that situation. Now she's taking care of kids when patience was not put into that woman. The willingness to wait for a certain man to show her certain aspects was not put into that woman. So even to allow the rhetoric to continue to have that woman in a position where she has made 3 males submit to just being with her is asinine to me. It's asinine to me, and I think that those are the women that individuals need to stop reproducing with, because then we have a psychological problem going on. You have a feminine organism that wants to dominate the male organism. In nature, that is not normal. You don't see female organisms, they work together in the ecosystem. They work together, and they also, you'll see situations where you see animals are in collective. If there's a group up, it's a group up of a feminine energy, not a male energy. So within the human aspect of that, a lot of us as indigenous women have been programmed to be weapons within our own home, because you can't control consciousness, but you can control the level of consciousness that individuals have. So if you're, and this is the problem where that comes in at, your male may become conscious, may go into arenas of consciousness that you are not in yet. At this present state of time, when you are not activated into fully feminine conscious, you can call yourself a weapon against the indigenous man, because when he comes in and he wants to change his reality, what part are you going to play as a woman? Are you going to challenge him and say, if you can have multiple females, I can have multiple men? Because if you're challenging that, then you've stepped out of the arena of nature. You've stepped out of the arena of talking into divine consciousness. Now we're dealing with your programmed ego.
You've allowed the programming to take over, and now it's ruling your way of being and your life, instead of you going back to the natural order of things. Continue. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
And when you, and I look at it as far as, you know, our males are intelligence in physical form, and we are intelligence in physical form. So when I see that, that lets me know the lack of intelligence within our indigenous women. Society boosts us up and we're saying, you know, we're go-getters, we're the head of the making money, we're ahead of doing this, but we're the least ahead at making conscious adjustments for the benefit of our people and not just ourselves as the single plural woman.
This is true, goddess. You know, if that's probably the most frustrating aspect of becoming aware and becoming conscious. The most frustrating aspect of it is others have not. And so when you try to have a conversation with people and they're just not on your level, therein lies the frustration. That frustration really is coming from people just simply not wanting to dig. People being complacent in where they are in their life and passive to what the matrix has to present to you. Oh, I'll just gobble this up and gobble that up and sit in front of the television and go to McDonald's and get obese and lazy and programmed, and oh, I gotta get up and go to work. I gotta work for the man. Oh, because I gotta pay these bills. I got this electric bill coming in, and all of that matrix shit. You guys have heard me say in my other video, I believe, about the electricity and how the pyramids were placed here as a source of energy for us through the sun. But our colonizers, they don't want us to know that information. So they capitalize on it and create a revenue, a stream of revenue for themselves, for the so-called elite, which is so much less than our population. But anyway, that's going somewhere else. I don't want to go into left field right now. But go ahead.
Okay. You wanna?
Yeah, well, it's live. You just talk,
Yeah,
you know.
it's live.
Yeah, so.
I actually want to touch on not, my goddess the king already talked about the one with multiple men. I want to touch on the subject of one king and multiple goddesses. I feel like it's a great thing, personally for me, to build with other women, other goddesses, because for me, when I was younger, my teenage years, and as now, as a grown adult, dealing with other indigenous women that have a certain hate for me, if that's the proper word. I don't know why, but me being in a PolyUnion is it benefits me a lot. It has helped me grow and learn, raise my level of consciousness, because I had to be transparent. I was part of the matrix and believe in the programming and things like that, but this year or year and a half or so being with my goddess and my king, they have shown me a lot, taught me a lot. I have learned a lot of things that I didn't know, and my goddess that's sitting right here, she has shown me a lot from a sisterhood, a goddess aspect that I've never had. And I've
Would you say that you did not have that because of the envy or the energy, the envious energy, I should say,
yes,
that you received in your childhood and growing up, even into your adulthood now, where you kind of have the energy of the women hating on you for one reason or another? Would you say that that lack of sisterhood was a part of that attributed to that?
yeah, absolutely.
And this is what Goddess Tiani was touching on about, the sisters like hating on each other and that cutthroat energy. Like, how has it even served our melanin women?
Yeah.
How has it served the goddesses of this planet? Like, you guys aren't stepping into your ownership. You aren't stepping into who you truly are. And that's because you haven't done the research. You haven't done any digging. So you don't know who you are. Excuse me, I'm going to keep it gully, 100. I'm going to tell it like it is. I'm not going to bite my tongue and beat around the bush, because shit like that, beating around the bush and biting tongues, is exactly why our people is in the position we're in today. I just said a lot. Think about that. Think about that. Biting our tongues and being passive, which the church programmed us to do that. Slavery programmed us to do that. Because that wasn't our nature. That wasn't our story. That's his story, not ours. But you got to dig and find that out. So I might be a little passionate behind it, but that's what it takes. Honestly, that's what it takes. Because we really need to wake the fuck up. Like, our people needs to wake up and understand who we really are. And stop allowing the Matrix to program your minds where you're in panic mode about shit that they're putting out, shit that they're doing. You're in panic mode. Why? How does it affect you? Because you're receiving it in your ears and you're speaking it out your mouth? That's how it's affecting you. Know who you are. It will literally change your mentality. Know who you are. Sorry, go ahead. My goddesses know me. They know how I do. So,
But Yeah, it's just kind of, coming on the context, because I like to read a lot of posts and blogs about conscious knowledge, relationships that are becoming our old sciences that were put into practice a long time ago, and they're being, sort of refreshed. But it's the right way to do it. But we're in a time where, we as women, we want this power thing. Like, we've gotten consumed of doing what everybody else has been doing to our males, and that is taking their power. And whenever they try to get it back from us, or not get it back from us, because nobody's taking it, but whenever they want to claim it and step into it, we kind of become the first line defenders. You know how they put the first row of soldiers to go out and do the attacking before they really get to the
pawns.
Yeah, but we're the pawns. We're becoming the pawns because we're already within the household. So we're the first ones that go to making moves against our kings. So don't forget that.
Even on the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You have to, what I've learned in the past year or so, you have to let the king be the king. You have to be submissive. Like, that's important. He's the king and you are the queen. So,
and by submitting to that power, you're submitting to yourself. You're giving yourself that ultimate submission, because you are, because I am. Without a male, we would not be here. Without our males, we would not be here. It takes two organisms to reproduce. So if I make a move for myself to better myself, then that's what I need to do. If I'm going to make a move that's going to hinder myself, then that's what I'm going to do. But any move you choose to make for your king, whether it's a winning move or a losing move, ultimately you're making that same move for yourself. How deep you are in your ego to realize that, that's on you. But I would hope
You
that
gotta
he's
lose the egos.
conscious enough to not
ego.
let you stay there, because I really would like a lot of, because I'm a sister myself, I like a lot of y'all sisters challenged. Like your man immediately come home and say, I want a sister wife. And see how you will either unravel or you will either build from that. If you unravel, sis, the last thing you need to be worried about is a man.
Know thyself. Know thyself. That's so important. But like I said, once you've established that, the shingles, the collar from around your neck, like all of that will be released from you. Your eyes will have been opened. Your eye, I should say. Those of you know who I'm talking about. What I'm talking
because
about.
we connecting up here. That's what that third eye is about. That's what it means. When they say use your third eye, it means use your mind, use your divine intelligence.
Which is in essence, essentially all of your chakras. Because you have to tap into each one of those chakras
For your
for you
mind.
to tap into that top chakra, which is the pineal gland. So if you're not doing the work, of course you're going to see this lifestyle as crazy and insane, and it's not. It's just foreign to you because you haven't tapped in to know who you are. Just like people think that we talk crazy about this matrix system, but this is a system that we're living in.
And it's insane.
It's insane. That's the fucking insanity right there. and it's people are having an issue grasping that this system is fucking insane. You're not insane. Shit that you feel within you and your way of being, that is what's resonating. That's your natural order of things. This is what you need to feed on. Even in this time-space reality, I was talking to the goddesses earlier about this last 10 years as far as astrologically and the cosmos and the universe and alignment and frequencies. If you've been doing the work, you know that in this time-space reality is the time for manifestation of your deep desires, what you truly desire in your life. Right now they have this corona bullshit. It's a distraction. And those who are aware, those who have done the work, even in the last 2 or 3 years, don't get distracted right now by this, because this is the time for you to focus on what you really want to manifest in your life. So lose the program mentality that media is pushing out there on us. Lose that shit. Don't absorb that. Know that you're better than that. Know that it's every other year they come out with something new. So think about that. Put the pieces together. 1 + 1. Come on. Every 3 years there's something coming out. You're still here, blinking and breathing. So keep moving that way, blinking and breathing, and know thyself.
And most importantly, meditate every day. Even if it's for 20 minutes, it helped me.
Meditation is key. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that will help you know yourself. Obviously, you have to do some research and do some digging and go back on what origin, where we really come from, what our origin really is. Because, like I said earlier, it's not his story. Our story is something entirely different. And until you dig and find that out, you're still going to be stuck in the matrix.
And I just would like to add as well, the studying and doing research about history. I think that's very important, especially when you're talking about elevating your consciousness and truly understanding what's going on. Because I don't think if you're not looking into what was in history, I don't think you're gonna get the bigger picture.
Exactly.
But I do know and I do realize that I've researched about a lot of ancient civilizations, and I know a lot of ancient civilizations was our people. They were melanated beings. They were doing superb things. They were creating superb statues and pyramids and temples and symbolic things, creating symbolic jewelry, even everything.
Even with technology.
Yes, everything that they were doing let me know that they were connected and they were on a very higher level of consciousness. They just were not where we are at today as a collective. So if you don't want to step your game up, you need to look into your history and look into your past of what your ancestors was doing, and that should make you want to step your game up, because your ancestors wasn't on no lower levels of consciousness and lower levels of emotions.
Right.
They were here with it. That's why everything that you see that they built still stands today. And that's what we need to continue to replicate. We've been trying to replicate a lower consciousness.
Ego. That's what we're taught is ego. That ego took over higher consciousness because we've been programmed with so much stuff. It's all ego. That shit does not come from nature. Ego doesn't come from nature. It just doesn't. Sorry. This is shit that we're programmed, is that ego mentality. And that ego mentality is what's holding us back, because we see things in an egotistical way. We live, our way of being is egotistical. We're not coming from a place of nature. Y'all cutting up. But that's what it is. It's fucking ego. It just messes people up, and people don't even realize it because they're just so programmed like zombies. We're walking, not we, excuse me, not I, not my goddesses. We're not walking around like zombies, but that's what the most people are doing in the Matrix. Y'all just walking around like zombies.
And acting as if they don't, like they aren't getting the proper information of how to change and how to step into this revolution, but they are. They're just against it. They're against it, you know. And that's why I say a lot of our people have to realize that there's a lot of self-hate and acknowledge that. Because the reason why we have not been able to tap back into what our ancestors were on is because of that self-hate. Because of that self-hate. We can't keep blaming it on the white man. The white man already did what he wanted to do, already put his foundations in place. Why did we not come together to knock that bitch down and make them remember whose foundations is already laid to rest and who gave them a lot of their knowledge? It came from
all
others.
of their knowledge.
Everything is upside down.
Yep,
and inside
upside
out.
down, inside out, exactly. And this is that transition period Right now, in this time space reality, this is that transition period for those that have been doing the work. The ones that have not been doing the work, sorry, too late. The door is closed because there's so much more that you haven't tapped into. Like we're only scratching the surface here with this conversation. But there's cosmos, there's universal alignment, there's frequencies, there's things that we haven't even discussed with you guys. You know, the PolyUnion is part of us going back to origin and going back to truth. But there's so much more truth and so much more origin information that's available to you. And so if you haven't been doing that work, you missed it. You better scratch like a cat now and dig as deep as you possibly can. And just really hope that you're in a place where you can transition with the revolution, the evolution that is about to transcend. And I'm speaking within the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to see exactly what this virus thing is about. The next 3 to 6 years, you're going to see a transition of our people. Trust and believe on that. You'll mark my words, and we'll still have this video. So,
And I would also like to state off to say that polygyny benefits goddesses more than it benefits the males. I really would like to put that out there and have that understood, because I've been hearing too much of that it benefits the males. I think it benefits the females more, the women more. It has them challenge themselves, probably in places that they weren't aware that they needed that challenge, or it has them to just beautifully be able to evolve into who they already were. So either or, it benefits the woman, it benefits the woman, so it benefits a whole nation. It doesn't benefit the man. He's just doing what he's supposed to be doing. But yeah, I've heard that a lot.
well, it benefits the man in building that tribe. So it's not.
If that's what he wants to do, you know.
That's what we are. We are PolyUnion. So we want to be very clear with that as well. That this is not, you know, the goddesses said earlier about men not being, or men being passive to the woman. This is not for the non-alpha male. Like, you cannot be a passive man and succumbing your way of being for any other being, for that matter, a man or a woman, which is why I would not succumb my way of being to even entertain my goddesses having another man enter them. Like, really? No. Alpha males just don't get down like that. And so, in the same sense that we protect and provide and give our goddesses a sense of security, that same aspect comes from another male. Like, I'm not gonna allow that. And if that's something that the goddesses want, they're certainly welcome to be on their way away from me. So, you know, and the alpha male is going to tell you that's what the alpha male is going to do. And so, yeah, we protect them also in that way, because we do honor them and we honor their bodies. And we certainly don't want other male energy, other, you know, even just on the basic law of nature, you as a woman, if you want multiple men, you and that man can only conceive once a year, right? So, other than that, you're just having sex, right? The sex is energy. And if you have truly tapped into who you are, and when I say tap into who you are, I mean by all of your chakras, not just your pineal gland, because you can't even mess with the pineal gland until you've tapped into every level of chakra. That's the only way the pineal gland is going to open up. Okay? Be clear on that. So if you have done that, why would you want multiple men's energy and just for an act of sex? Our intimacy moments are not just sex. that intimacy is because we've tapped into chakras. Our intimacy is on next level. It's not just sex. So that's why a polyunion dynamic is not built on just sex, because you have so many other dynamics that come along with your building mentally together, building chakras together. So when you tap into the sexual aspect, the intimacy aspect, you're not just having sex. It's something much more quantum than sex. So stop opening up your bodies to multiple dudes. Like, what the fuck is that? Stop that shit. Hey, yo, do what you want. I can only give you my experience, my knowledge. I know a lot. I've never said that I know anything, but the things that I do know, I speak on, and I speak on it passionately. So having multiple energies of males, that's not the way to go. You can only, if you're talking about building a nation, building an awakening tribe, then you can only conceive once a year anyway, right? And every 9 months, okay? So next dude, he gonna get his chance. I got the next 9 months. Oh shit. And you're playing it that way. So every year you've got five guys that you in your union with, your poly dynamic. And with those 5 guys, each one of them can conceive a child with you in 5 years, right? Can all of those guys say, that's my son, that's my child? Can all of those guys take that ownership? The same when it comes with even our polyunion. I can conceive with one goddess, but this is all our child. There's no separatism in that. So when you say you want to have multiple guys, really look at what you're talking about doing and look at the type of lifestyle that you're trying to create. And if that really resonates with you, then I wish you the best. But not in polyunion. So we're spreading polyunion, even though we are speaking about other groups, we are polyunion, and we want to be clear the aspects and the differences between polyunion and the other dynamics. What's resonates in our being of polyunion and what does not resonate even in the natural order of things. So try to avoid that and meditate. This God is
Yeah, meditate. Also, study into history, study nature, because you know, a lot of information you're not gonna get out of books. A lot of intelligent, divine information. You're gonna have to look at reality for what it really is. And on top of it being a world, there is 2 worlds within one world. But the first world was nature. The first world is nature. It always will be. It's gonna be here when we're gone, and nature's still gonna be thriving. So if you wanna become a philosopher, then you have to know what you have to be studying the right material. Some of this information you'll get from books. Some of this information you can get from off your computer or blogs. There's all type of ways we can pull in information, but let your true reference be nature. Especially when you just want to simplify things and and want to look at things for what really is. You know, nature is the blueprint of existence, and there is no incorrections within nature. So if I'm gonna go back to a reference to something, that to me it would be nature.
And on that note, we'll end this. Love you guys. Create your polyunions. Peace, love,
And happiness.